In the previous tutorial we learned LS6. In this tutorial we will learn how to give the GPIO outputs to LS6. We have 4 GPIOs. You can see them on your EVK. So let's start by creating 4 buttons. So for that I'm going to disable all the constraints and then make 4 new buttons. So let's make 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to make it smaller.
By 12 someone will start coming, so that's the thing, by 12 we will have discussion, by 12 I will check.
Okay, let's put the text as 1, 2, actually let's put the text as 0, 1, 2 and 3, because in electronics actually everything begins from 0. So now we have 4 buttons, and just the way we did it last time, we're going to make 4 different callback functions to all these 4 buttons. So let's call it B0, B1, B2, B3. Okay, and similarly we're going to make Android on click and B0 click. I'm going to copy paste this. Actually we don't even need to make a callback function. So what we can do is either you can make a callback by clicking on this like on click listener, or we have another option just the way we did last time, where we can track the action down and action up on the buttons. Okay, so now let's come to our main activity.java and make the 4. And just like we did for the other buttons on the top, we're going to find view by ID for all these 4 buttons. Once we are done with this, scroll down a little. I'm going to make set on touch listeners similar to how we created on touch listeners for the other buttons. I'm just going to copy paste, and let's make this B0 and B0 over here and B0 over here, and I'm going to remove this line which we used for something else before. So essentially we made an on touch listener for B0 now, and we're going to copy paste this and make for all 4 buttons. So we're going to make this for B3, this for B2, and this for B1, and this one for B0. So now we have on touch listeners for B0, B1, B2 and B3. What we want to achieve is the moment we press the buttons, the 4 buttons here, we want 4 different GPIOs to react to these buttons. So let's say when we press GPIO 0, the GPIO 0 goes high, and if we leave it, it goes low. So now we come back to our main activation, so it's over here. So the moment we press the B0 button, what we want is we want to set the GPIO 0 as output. So we use robot.setOutput 0, which means that it's going to set the GPIO 0 as an output pin. It can either be used as an output or an input. So over here we want it as an output. And then robot.set GPIO, and it says GPIO 0 and state is 1. By 1 we mean it's high. Similarly, we're going to take it here, and the moment we leave the button we want it to go back to 0. So essentially that's it. We just copy paste this to all our buttons the same way, but over here it's GPIO 1, GPIO 1 and state 0. For here it's GPIO 2, state 0, and finally GPIO 3, so now we have successfully set up all the buttons, and ideally now if we press these, the corresponding button should go high or low on the LS6. So how we can test this is by putting an LED on these ports. If you check the complete EVK, it has been labeled with whether it's ground or the VCC point on those GPIOs. So one of them is a ground. Essentially it should be labeled. So now when we put the LEDs, since LEDs are unidirectional, so please make sure that it's connected correctly, and once you connect them, the moment you press these buttons it will glow. Before we go ahead, we missed a few things. I forgot to label them: B0, B1, B2, B3. And another thing that we have forgotten is over here we have to clear all constraints and then use the magic wand. And yeah, now we can run it. So now we have connected the LEDs to the button and LED glows or goes down. So that's how we expected it to work. This is it for this tutorial. See you in the next one.